Madanji, unmute.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Madanji.
Yeah. Good evening,
You can
RCGNs.
mute all.
Yeah. Fine. Good evening, RCGNs. It gives me pleasure in inviting you for the second weekly meeting for this Rotary year 21-22. May I now request the President to call the meeting.
Sir, unmute yourself, sir. This Rotary Club of weekly speaker meeting come to order.
Thank you, President. It is customary in Rotary to present the four-way test. May I now request Rotarian Uwais to present the four-way test. Rotarian Uwais, can you unmute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Could you just
Yes,
put your video on if possible? Otherwise, please go ahead and present it. Yeah.
Yes. The four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
Thank you, Rotarian Uwais. I now request Dr. Anu to present the thought for the day. Dr. Anu, are you there?
I think Anu is not there.
Okay, on behalf of her, let me present the thought for the day. The thought for the day goes like this. Focus is distracting yourself from distraction. I picked it because it will be more apt for this day because we have a very good speaker whose area is nothing but focus. Thank you again. So may I now request President Motish to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening to one and all. My hearty welcome to our today's speaker, Mr. Srikanth, for joining with us in the Zoom. I welcome all our club members and for this wonderful weekly speaker meeting about the journey from the left click to right click. There is a in the famous movie say inga enna solludo kelu inga enna solludo kelu அப்படினுவாங்க. Like this, what the passion drives us, we should move towards our passion. He moved from left click of mouse IT industry to the right click of camera photography. So we are very eager to listen to you about the passion which changed from IT to here and how not to take photographs and kind of things. Thank you, sir, for joining with us today. With that, actually, I'm just planning to continue the avenue information with your permission, Secretary.
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
We have occasional visit to Mahabs with a guide, Manik, who is a passionate archaeologist. He will take us to the 7th century AD of Pallava dynasty, and it is also a UNESCO heritage site. So we request members to join on Monday afternoon 2:30 at Mahabs with the family, with aunts and aunts. And the second, on the international avenue, we are planning to have a joint speaker meet with all our sister club on August 25th. We have fixed the date and make it at our sister clubs also. As of now, 2 sister clubs has confirmed, Alostar and Port Blair has confirmed for a participation, and we are following with others. And the speaker will be Murali Sundaram, is a good speaker. He is going to talk about how to rebound or resilient fastly on after the odd times. And literacy class, we are starting our first class on 5th August at Poverty School. On community service, also we are planning we are doing an R&D for tube toilet, basically which we are planning to construct a toilet in one day at half the cost, and the toilet will be a reusable. 70% of material which we are using will be reusable. We are in the R&D stage. So once it's developed, we will share more to the club. Over to Secretary.
Thank you, President. Now there is some more information on the avenue front. May I now request Rotarian Srikanth Anandal to present the community service avenue information. Srikanth. Srikanth, are you there?
Good, sir.
I've asked him to unmute, so he has to.
Yeah.
Srikanth, sir?
Yeah. Thanks, Madan.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So from our side, from the community services development, we just wanted to update a few things. We visited Alatur along with Sharath, our immediate past president, Venuji and Sriram. We inspected the boys' hostel, which is close to completion now. The finishing work is done. I think in the next week or 10 days, it should be complete, ready for total usage. The pond restoration work currently it's temporarily on hold due to rains. As soon as it clears up, if you have a few days of clear sun, then I think we should be able to start the work on that. Tree plantation, we are planning to do some tree plantation around the pond. It's planned for 15th of August, along with flag hoisting that is going to happen at the boys' hostel. So more details will be following up pretty soon on that one. We noticed the kids there, the boys and the girls, they're enjoying the board games. So it is whatever that's been given a couple of weeks ago. It's all been put to use. We could see a lot of vibrancy there in that area, actually. As our president mentioned, a toilet prototype, it is getting ready to be implemented there at Alatu. I think once it is ready and once we have something functioning, I think we'll provide more details on that front also. So I think that's something that will become like a model toilet. We are hoping that it is going to be adopted by a lot of other clubs also. And the last thing I just wanted to update is we are working on a proposal for Annadanam. This is an extension of Rotary Cares that we did extensively last year. It is currently in the proposal stage where we are trying to get the approval from the board. It's approved and we'll bring it up to the official group tomorrow. The plan is to provide food provisions for the entire day in a month to one deserving old age home or orphanage. We have members already doing it for their birthdays and anniversaries. Now, what we want to do it is more like a crowdfunding effort, so that we could probably cover more of these destitute homes and orphanages. We also think that the funds, if we can collect, we can use it if at all there is any third wave. We can use it for providing food to the street dwellers also. We need the support from all the members in terms of participation and donation. More details will follow up on this one. Okay. Thank you.
Fantastic, Srikanth. That was so nice. Very beautiful and very crisp avenue presentation. Thank you so much for that. Moving on, may I now request Rotarian V. Sridhar, our membership chair, to present the information on Roaring Riders, which is a bike ride which they have planned to have on August 1st. I now request Rotarian V. Sridhar to present the information on that. Sridharji?
Am I audible?
Yeah, very much, sir, very much.
Yeah, thank you, Madan. As you told, it's a roaring rider. So one of the roaring lion is with us, Karthik. Thank you, Karthik, for initiating this program. So August being a membership month under Rotary, so we would like to take this event under the banner "Friendship and Fellowship Leads to Membership."
Wow.
The objective of the Roaring Riders is, Rotary not only stands for service, but also for friendship and fellowship. And one of these causes is, we want to extend this to all fellow Rotarians. Also, it's a club event, so I request all the club members to join this friendship and fellowship. It starts at 5:30 at Alandur metro stations. Those who have bike, please join by bike. Those who don't have bike, still you can join by coming over in your car. Have a nice breakfast at 99 kilometers and you can ride back. Enjoy the fellowship. The entire Rotary network is the firmly believes that the friendship is the base for creating more camaraderie and service. So let's enjoy that by joining this excellent program. So last year we did with the polio as a cause. This year we take fellowship and friendship for the Rotary year of Rotary month of membership as a cause. So the chief guest for the event is Rotarian NS Saravanan, who is happens to be director membership, and a guest of honor is Rajagopalan. It starts sharp at 5:30, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of flag off, and then we push to 99 kilometers. We have a breakfast arranged there, and we come back immediately thereafter for lunch in your own home. Thank you all. Thank you, Madan, for the opportunity.
Fantastic, sir. That was so
Karthik,
nice.
you want to add something?
Yeah,
Karthik?
5:30 a.m.
5:30
a.m. Okay.
We know that. So that was so nice. So we are all really awaiting for that bike ride. So, and we sincerely hope the number count for RCG also increases after this. So we will work towards that, Sridharji. So having said that, now is there Johnny around? Rotarian Johnny? Do you have any information to be presented on?
No, sir. I just
you are
no,
presented it. Okay, okay.
no.
Thanks, President.
I've
Yeah, I know
conveyed
that.
the
Yeah,
initial-
yeah. Thanks, President. Now the important event of this evening. May I now request Anne Lakshmi to introduce the guest speaker and invite him to deliver his address. Anne Lakshmi.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Little
bit.
Good evening. Yeah, so I'll just start with my intro. Good evening, President Motish, Secretary Madan, Mr. Srikanth, RCGNs, and dear friends. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Mr. Srikanth. As a young boy, Srikanth wanted to be a cricketer. After all the training and hard work, he realized that this was not meant to be. He graduated in physics, studied software engineering, became a certified usability analyst, and joined a software company. After spending 21 years in the IT industry, he decided to hang up his boots on corporate life and follow his passion in photography. A passion for photography took him a journey of rediscovering life in 2008. He took to clicking everything and anything that he found beautiful. He says, we see the myriad forms and moments of our life streaming before us in continuous frames like a video. Certain moments stand out for their beauty and their significance. Freezing a moment helps us appreciate life better and relish it even after years, refreshing memories associated with it. Srikanth will present his transition from being surrounded by concrete jungle to seeing the world through his artistic eyes. His presentation will be replete with photographs he has clicked in wild, nature, products, dance, and other creative shots. Through these photographs, he'll be talking about what makes a good photograph. Thank you.
That was so nice. Fantastic. May I now request a Rotarian, Mr. Srikanth, to address the gathering and start his speech. Srikanthji, over to you. The floor is all yours. Yeah. Before that, members, Mr. Srikanth has made a request. In case you have any questions in between his presentation, I request you to type it on the chat, and he wants to take the question then and there. Whenever you type it, I will be able to take the question to Mr. Srikanth and he will be able to answer. He doesn't mind interrupting his speech also. That is what he said to me. So this is information for you. Somebody wants to take a particular question on a photograph or anything, just type that question in the chat box. I will be able to take that question to Mr. Srikanth. Mr. Srikanth, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Am I audible now?
Very much, sir. Very clear.
Okay. Yes. So let's start. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me for this session. And it's a great pleasure, to see how you carry out things, in your weekly meetings. And, so I was just observing, and very nice to see how systematic these things are.
Yeah.
Let me share the screen. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Very much, sir. Yes, we are able to see the screen.
Okay, so let me start here. Yeah, the journey itself is such a fantastic journey here, and I thought I could just talk about what made this journey very interesting. So who am I? Yeah, I'm Srikanth, obviously, you know that, physics graduate. The background that I have actually mentioned in this particular part of the screen is it's quite important, that actually, influenced me later in my life, to take up photography. So I was born in a family that appreciated arts, and my mom is a veena player as well as a Carnatic music teacher. And I'm married to a Bharatanatyam dancer. So my in-laws are totally into Carnatic music. My mother-in-law teaches music, and my father-in-law writes, Carnatic related songs. He's a lyricist. And I'm a keen meditator and a yoga practitioner. Now, the reason I'm mentioning all these things is, from left click to right click, these are some of the things that are very important, for the transition. So let me repeat again, what was being said. At any point of time, if you think you have a question, please do write, please do type it in your chat window. I have divided my presentation into two parts, basically. So the first part is basically, gives an introduction as to why I took this kind of a step. And the second part of the presentation is about all the photographs, that I have actually taken. And, I'll be talking about, what goes into making a good photograph, what happened during this photograph, and all those aspects. And it's very important to know, because a photographer thinks. He doesn't take a photograph, he makes a photograph. He thinks before just clicking that shutter button. So that's, I thought, that I could probably, talk about these aspects. So yes, so the next slide. 21 years of IT life, has brought in that you fall into a set pattern, and there is a lot of seriousness that is involved. I would call it as a corporate seriousness. Because there are formal meetings, then the client has his pressure, your manager gives a pressure, then the company has its own pressure as far as revenue targets and utilization targets are concerned, and there are hiring issues. So you must be, familiar with all these things if you're working in the corporate sector. So going through all these things, and of course, the last point, infamous, appraisals. Oh, who doesn't know about the bell curve? And, we have all gone through it, and we have gone through taking decisions, that have not been favorable for the employees. All these, aspects, made me think twice, is this what I want to do? Because my life, and I'm the one who is going to be deciding, not someone who is going to be deciding on these things. So this has to change. And what is the change? 2015, there was this floods in December in Chennai. My office in Sholinganallur was flooded. And I live in an apartment complex called the Nest here, Chaitanya's Nest. And I used to walk with my wife, and then, we used to think about, what is it that we are doing here in this concrete jungle? And the offices are all built, where lakes should have been existing. Is this what we want to do in this life? Is this what we have? Is this our contribution to changing all the lakes to office buildings? So that is when it somehow affected, and it somehow hit that part of the mind, which helped me to take this decision to quit corporate life. And I decided, after the floods in January, I put in my papers and I quit in April 2016. Yeah, so but why? As I said, IT life is so different, right? I mean, you are at home, and then you get into your car, which is a cubicle. You go to office, into a cubicle, right? You talk over the phone, and then you again get into, at the end of the day, you get into a car, which is a cubicle. So and come back home, and then do not have much time with to spend with the family or do other things. So this cubicle life is something that, I decided, no, I don't want to do this kind of a thing. You live only once here, right? But with so much of creativity, in the family, and of course, I'm sure, there's some amount of creativity that has actually percolated into me. I said, no, I need to do something serious, or rather something jovial. I would say, not serious. I've been doing a lot of things serious. We decided, when I say we, my wife and I, she has been a pillar of strength for me. And we decided that, that we need to live within our means. There's a big difference between needs and wants, right? So let's decide what is it that we need and what is it that we want. The wants can always come later. And so my wife was working from home. I had some investments. And then, there was this family support, which was always, telling me, okay, come on, go ahead, Srikanth, go, do these things, right? And yoga and meditation. So all these aspects, helped me to take this decision. Now, why I'm mentioning yoga and meditation is because, that helped me to be very patient. That helped me to stop using my left, not just use my, left part of the brain, but also use the right part of the brain, which caters to creativity. But then, this doesn't come just like that. There are so many challenges. The biggest challenge I put in the first point here is that I'm not a social person. And so this happens for, many IT professionals. They are not social people. They just have their computer in front of the computer. They are just do it, and then they have their teams, they have their managers, and then hardly any time to actually go out and mix with people. But personally speaking, I'm not a very social person, and the other thing that I decided was that that photography is a passion, right? And I shouldn't change it to a commercial venture. And what that means is that I decided that I'm not going to be money minded, and that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be charging people. But yes, it is not money mindedness that I'm going to be looking at, and there's no profit loss kind of a mentality that I'll be looking at. And this is a challenge because the moment you do those things, money takes slightly backseat, and passion comes to the fore. And I was fine with that. In India, photography is not so mature as compared to let's say the West, the US or the UK, and photographers do not get paid so much. There's no fixed income. You get money only when clients contact you. And as I said, I am not a very social person, so it's only word of mouth that helps in getting contracts or getting assignments. The camera, the lenses, all these things that I use are very costly. We know the cell phones that are so costly, but then camera lenses are also costly. They can range, the body alone, the camera body alone can range anywhere from 1.3 lakhs. I'm talking of a professional camera. And then the lenses can go as high as 6 lakhs. These are the challenges that I faced. And the previous slide, I was also talking about I was aware of these challenges, and that's when I decided to make some investments, save some money. My wife was also earning, so that also helped. And there's this always a family encouragement that one gets. I started as a nature and wildlife photographer. Very soon I realized, and thankfully, that that this is not going to help me, and I need to widen my horizon, widen my scope. That's when I decided to get into product portraits, food photography, dance photography. I've been doing since 2008 because my wife is a Bharatanatyam dancer, and that's how other dancers used to contact me for photography. Macro is, yes, those small tiny objects or tiny beings, insects, flowers, and all those things. It introduced me to a whole new world, because that world is something that not many people are aware of, and it's so beautiful. Usually insects are, people just move away from it or they kill it. But when I got introduced this macro photography, and I saw these insects from a different perspective, I really fell in love with that. And I'm still doing macro photography. Now, babies and siblings, again, there are a lot of people who have called me for baby and sibling photography, and that has also given me a different perspective. Events I'm not doing right now, but I used to do events, but I somehow found them a bit boring because you just click and then give the result, the output to the clients. Whereas I was more interested in doing something creative. So now we go into the second part of the presentation, and this is going to be very interesting because I'm going to be showing you some images which I have clicked. Feel free to ask questions. Again, just repeating, because since the presentation is on, I'm not able to see the chat window. So probably, somebody will have to see if there are any questions and let me know about a question.
Sure, we'll do that.
Yeah, sure. One of the questions I keep asking is, when animals are living in the natural environment, why are they called wild? I have always, found it very, funny. We humans are the ones who are wild, who are living in a concrete environment, which is not natural, but we seem to be calling animals which live in a natural environment as wildlife, right? This question is still haunting me. I don't have an answer to this, but then it is a food for thought for all of you. Yeah. So this tiger photography is something, that has been, I would say, there for a very long time, and it has, come of age, it has matured, and now there is an exaggeration. There's a lot of hype that goes on for tiger photography. So this is one of the shots which I shot in Bandipur, and see, again, in most of these photographs, I'll be talking as to what went through my mind. See, it has to be an action shot, so the leg is slightly up, it is not touching the ground, and that gives a certain effect. That is one point. The second is the look of the tiger, a hard look, as if he's the king. The third aspect is the glow that you see on the ground, as well as from the background. That's because the sun is behind the tiger, it's coming from that angle, and that gives a golden glow. Yes, this was also shot, late in, not late in the evening, but around 4:35. So that effect was also there. And I'm not sure if you're able to see the cursor that I'm showing here. These lines are what are known as the border lines, that give a different kind of an effect to the tiger, and they sometimes define the shape of the object or of the being that you are actually clicking. So this is one of those early shots that I had actually taken when I was doing wildlife photography. Now the same tiger, when you actually get closer, and this tiger was around around 7 to 8 feet from me, and that's all. I mean, and I was on a safari vehicle, and this is the maximum I could get. That means, the rest of the body is something that I couldn't get in my lens. It was that close. Look at the daring eyes that it has, and it seemed actually unconcerned that that there are people who are looking at it. It walked like a king. It's really the king of the jungle. I don't know why lion is called the king of the jungle, but I totally believe that tiger should be the king of the jungle, because it's not the jungle alone. You find the tiger in every terrain, whereas the lion is usually there in just 1 or 2 terrains, but tiger can climb any terrain. It can go in any terrain.
So one question to you, G.
Yeah.
How many days of effort it took for you to spot a tiger before taking the photograph?
That purely depends on luck, actually. The thing is, you really do not know when a tiger is going to come, and that's the best part of wildlife photography in India. If you know if there is going to be a tiger there, what's the fun of just going to that place and then clicking the tiger? The best part is the journey into the jungle and then looking all around for the tiger, going to water bodies, probably waiting there for an hour or 2 hours and then waiting for the tiger to come. Probably it will come. We don't know, they don't inform us, right?
Yeah, that is the reason I asked this question. Like,
yes.
how lucky.
Yeah. You really have to be lucky, to spot a tiger, and especially if you are going to a place which is not filled with so many tigers, then you will have to totally base it on luck and also on some skills. usually, the guide who comes along with you has the skills of hearing the sounds of animals. Let's say the barking of a deer, or the sound of a langur, and he can say that yes, there's something that some predator that's around. So that is actually really helpful as far as guide. And if, for example, if I have been to the jungle for a long time, I know yes, okay, there's the birds suddenly flying or something happening, there's a ruffle in the bushes or in the some part of the forest. So we know, okay, let's stop here for some time. So we switch off the engine and then wait there to see if there's any action. Many times we have waited for half an hour, no action has happened, and then we have moved on. And so to answer your question, yes, you really have to be lucky to see a tiger, especially if you're going to a place which does not have so many tigers there. If you go to Bandhavgarh, yes, even there is you will find it slightly difficult, probably because the tigers are not to be seen so much. But Tadoba, Bandhavgarh, yes, you can spot a tiger much easily as compared to, let's say, Kabini and Bandipur.
Okay. And one more question: what is the scope of monetization with wild photography? Is it mainly through National Geographic?
Good question.
It's from Srikanth Anandal, our Rotarian Srikanth Anandal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, let me be very frank and blunt here. There is actually no scope as far as monetization is concerned in wildlife photography in India. It's only those 1 or 2% of the wildlife photographers who make money out of wildlife photography, and many of them make money through organizing tours, wildlife tours, where they act as mentors and not through photography. So they are mentors for photography. They explain about photography. It's like teaching photography on the field. But yes, those 1 or 2%, they sometimes make films and then sell it to National Geographic and other, let's say, Animal Planet, and those kind of. Even there, you really need to have contacts, and you really have to make films that are really good to be put on that channel. But still photography, no. I mean, I won't. If someone were to ask me, can I take a career in wildlife photography, I would ask him to be careful in selecting that. You can choose it as a passion, but don't choose a career in wildlife photography until you are sure that you have the required contacts, and you are sure that you are going to be among the top 1 or 2% of those professional photographers.
Thank you. Yeah, we can move on.
Elephants, yeah, elephants are common. This one, a sighting in the Indian forest. The beauty of this shot, which I think was not just the elephant, there's another character here, which is the myna. The myna moves along with the elephant, wherever the elephant goes. That's because when the elephant plucks vegetation, the pests, the small insects, fall from this vegetation, and the myna consumes them. It eats them. So it's a very intelligent, partnership that the myna has with the elephant here.
Super.
Yeah. So this is an egret. Egrets, usually are very slow moving, and they have their own rhythm, beautiful rhythm, as if they are going to dance. And I was in a machan here, and around 30 to 40 meters from this water body. I saw this egret very close to the water, and I said, I need to take it, along with the reflection, because the slow moving action of the egret, it looks like a dance, and it takes two to tango. So that was my view when I actually composed this photograph.
So okay, whatever we see at the bottom is the reflection, right?
That's right. That's the reflection.
Okay.
Yeah, in the jungle, there's not much of pollution, and also it wasn't very windy too. So the water was still, and what you see the bottom part is actually the reflection. Peacocks we have seen with the feathers open, but this is something that I was very excited to take as soon as I entered the jungle in Bandipur. This peacock was perched, and look at its the way its feathers are, and it looks so beautiful early in the morning with the light mist perched on a tree. The tree is also, there's some sort of a design, that's between the tree and the peacock here. They seem to be falling in line. So people who are designers will probably appreciate the fact that, that yes, there is a design element in this too. A wild elephant so close, yes, this is going to be very dangerous. This is very dangerous. In fact, you shouldn't take a risk. But the fact is that, I was not so close to the wild elephant. I had a zoom lens. I had a 500 mm lens, which actually, brought the image so close. And the best part is the eyes and the lines that you see in this elephant. Sometimes minimalistic picture is something, makes an impact. So this is one of them. This is a racket-tailed drongo. That's a single element in this particular picture. The background is hazy, it's a forest, it's misty, and the drongo seems to be traveling diagonally. So that's another design element, that actually attracts or makes a picture more attractive. A diagonal element, when you add it, it goes from the top left to the bottom right, and the drongo seems to be going from bottom right to top left. So these are, some things that we do take care while composing an image, and we had to be very quick in composing this kind of images. There is always this surprise element, you see the path in this particular picture. You would have expected something to come in this path, but then an elephant as big as an elephant, suddenly comes from the bushes. And you see that suddenness, that impact is really high. And it's not just one elephant, it was followed by 3 more elephants from those bushes. It took me by surprise because I was just across on the safari vehicle. And thankfully, I just got the elephant while it was just coming out of the bush. So this is another impact. If there is another thing, you could actually take the entire elephant while it has come out, but then that wouldn't make an impact. While you just show some part of the elephant from the bushes, and you imagine yourself in that situation, that's really scary. So that is an impact photograph. I love this photograph. It looks like a painting. This was shot in Dudhwa, which is in North Uttar Pradesh. These are marshy lands, and that's a lesser adjutant stork which is landing there. When you see this composition, the entire thing looks like a painting. There were deers here, which you cannot see, but I can spot them, far in the top, in the right-hand side, behind the bushes. But then my main portion when I was following this adjutant stork, was in its flight, I knew it was going to land, and I wanted this particular moment with its wings, spread wide for it to take this particular photograph. And because I was actually focusing on the adjacent stork, the rest of the images, the rest of the part of the image is actually blurred, and that is what makes it look like a painting. This is a typical Kabini scene. The elephants doing a mud bath, taking a mud bath, putting the mud over it, just to remove the pests and to keep its body clean. The surroundings, if one has gone to Kabini, they can immediately realize, or they can immediately point out, yes, this is Kabini. Outskirts of Chennai in Pulicat. This was shot there. I have converted this to a black and white photograph primarily because this there was no color element in this. The egrets, these are the lesser egrets, and these are white in color. The water was also not colorful here. It was slightly grayish, so that's why I converted it to black and white. But what was more interesting is how they were all standing there. It was as if a parliament was in session. I mean, their parliament. Forget our parliament. Our parliament is never so quiet. But the birds' parliament in session was going on, and probably there was some sort of conversation which was happening, and people were listening to it, or rather, the birds were listening to it. Yeah, I call this rolling on the floor laughing, ROFL. So these are wild asses in Kutch. And again, this is some sort of a scratching their back and removing the pests from their bodies. If you see this particular shot, I had to lie down on the ground in Kutch and take it. That's why you see the front part here, blurred here, and I'm almost at the same height as the wild asses. One of the aspects of photography is, you be like the subject. For example, be in the height of the subject. That's when there is greater impact that you can actually create. Similar to the last one, these are again wild asses in the little run of Kutch, which the time of the year was December. That's when I went there. During the month of December, it's mostly like a desert. And what you see is actually a mirage, down where the reflection is actually a mirage. And you get this kind of a reflection only when you lie down on the ground and then take the shot. If you're slightly up, sitting or standing, you will not get the reflection. You'll get the reflection only when you lie down on the ground. One of my favorite shots, this one. This is the a hop, skip, and jump kind of a this one. It's a cormorant. It's a greater cormorant, and it's obviously a single shot. But then you see how it started in the far right here. This is the second stop. This is the third stop, and then it's up. And what's more important is its reflection here. Again, still waters, taking in Dudwa in the forest. I love this shot, because it shows various stages in a single shot. Okay, let me go a bit fast here. Macro photography, I said I got interested in macro photography. These are two ants. The one ant is feeding honey to the other ant. And in the background, we can see a colony of ants. They are feeding on honey. I had actually dropped a few drops of honey in the background. And this ant had actually taken some honey and then it's feeding the other ant. Again, the angle of this shot, if you see, it's the ground level. I had to lie down totally, come to the height of these ants and then take this shot. That's when, you get this kind of a clarity, and that's where you actually get to see their world. This is a snail, a snail, a being that does not have any real estate problem because it carries its home along with it. If you see this, sorry, where is this one? Yeah. If you see this particular part, this is not its eye. I had purposely taken this shot from this angle. This is one of the tentacles like this, and which is pointing towards the lens. So that angle, it looks like its eye, but the snail's eyes are actually on top of these two tentacles that I'm actually showing here. That's where the snail's eyes are. So I said, it's a dragonfly, and then you see the curve of its tail. As I said, many of the photographers, they look into the design aspect of photography. And if you see the leaf is also shaped there's a curvature, which actually matches that of the tail here. And that again, makes an impact in a photograph. Again, when you go to the height of the ants, you see three ants here. The two ants are carrying the one which is in the center. I don't know why. I mean, probably one ant was injured, but this has been taken with a macro lens. A macro lens is a lens which actually gets into the minute details, where you can see the eyes clearly. You can see, the legs, the antennae, and all those aspects very clearly of little small beings. This is a garden fly. a long-legged garden fly. It looks as if, it owns these water droplets. It had rained that time, and the droplets had very, very surprisingly, the leaf had these droplets of water, and this garden fly just came there and probably was taking some water into its mouth. But I caught it at the right moment, as if, it was trying to own these droplets. This is a spider. You see the spiders on the plants, and it looks like some, as if it's taken in some other planet. But then this is just a pot, and what you see as green the green color is nothing but the leaves, and the spider is on the leaves and with a darker background there. One thing I want to say is, many people think, a lot of things are these things are Photoshop. Well, no, I don't Photoshop any of my images, except brightness and contrast, changing those levels. Otherwise, I don't do any of these Photoshop work. This is a colored grasshopper. Now you start appreciating these beings when you go closer. Look at its eyes, and look at the color of this. You never know that such things do exist. Though this was actually shot in Theosophical Society, and very, very beautiful. And you can actually see these small beings, immediately after rains. So if it has rained in the morning, and then you can actually go out into the bushes and see beautiful insects, coming out. It gives a new perspective, that there's it's a different world altogether, to photograph these little insects. So the next part I'm actually going to be talking about, I have also always wondered, how I can make my photography different. So how do I show motion in a single shot? So it's one thing to do is, to freeze an action shot. So this is.
Sorry to interrupt, Ji. I have a question from Rotarian Venkatesh KV.
Yeah.
He's asking what distance you maintain for macro shots and what lens.
Okay. So I have a 100 mm Canon macro lens, and the distance is probably 1 foot or even less than that, because you really have to. It's a good question. The reason being that when you go so close, the insect just flies away, right? So that's why you start from 3 feet or 4 feet. Take a shot. Take one shot. Go one step forward. As I said, when I said one step forward, you're not standing here. You're actually going at the level of these insects. These insects could be ground insects. That means you're actually crawling, or they could be at a certain height, which means you are half sitting or half standing. And so you may actually be, at that level, and you go step by step, 3 feet, 4 feet, first starting with 4 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet, 1 foot, and that's how close you actually get till a point that, the insect says, okay, fine, no, it's in danger, and it flies away.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Vidya. She's asking, did you use a tripod or handheld?
See, I don't know whether you are asking this for wildlife photography or in general photography. So in wildlife photography, when you go to a forest, using a tripod is very difficult, because you are in a safari vehicle, and in a safari vehicle, it is not possible to have a tripod and mount the camera on it. Now, if you're talking of macro photography, no, I don't use tripod here. You really need to have steady hands here. You have to stop your breathing, because every breath, with every breath, your hands move. So you will have to be stand still. You will have to stand still, or probably sit still without movement. Stop your breath, and then go step by step closer. It is a very difficult aspect of photography, macro photography, I would say. So I don't use tripods, because by the time I use tripod and then arrange things, the insects would just fly away. So it is not worth it.
Thank you. Very nice.
So this is another action shot here. This is the karate kick. And motion, again, it shows motion, the hair moving, and the fact that, the girl is, over the ground. So this is again freezing a motion here, but then there is still motion here. Having done this, I wanted to do something different. And this is a model.
One question to you, Srikanth, one question to you.
Yeah.
I have this question. When you do a motion shot, you are talking about 6-7 motion capture thing, or you just focus and then at that height you shoot it?
It's a single shot. No, there are no 6 or 7 shots frames here. It's a single shot. And my challenge was, how do I show motion in a single shot? See, let me put it this way. Anyone can take a video. When you do a video, it is like you're watching, through your eyes only, because you see everything in a straight line in a motion. But to capture one aspect of that motion and still show that it is a motion is a challenge that I had actually taken. So this is what you see right now is a single shot. There is more dynamism in this shot because the model here is shaking his head, and also because you see the droplets of water flying all around. So that is from his hair. It looks as if that is from his hair, but the trick is that there is another person who is spraying water droplets from a bottle. So that's how you do these kind of dynamic, bring in dynamism into these shots. Then I said, okay, since I already do dance photography, so this is one way I can show motion. And the way that I do it is, or anyone does it is, lessen the shutter speed. When you lessen the shutter speed, what happens is there is a motion that it captures a motion, but then you also have to be careful to lessen the shutter speed only to that extent that you see the object clearly. Here you see the two dancers clearly. It is a dance. There is a motion that is happening. They are bringing the hands this way. And yet it is a still shot with motion built into it. So another aspect of motion, you must have seen this. These are light trails of traffic. This was taken in the old Mahabalipuram road. You had those overpass. So when it was getting constructed, I had gone there, and the traffic trails also show some motion here. Again, slow shutter speed brings in motion. Now, some of the common elements that we shoot. See, the purpose of this presentation is also, I actually want to say how you can be different, when you take photographs and not do the same thing again and again. Click the moon, click the sun, and then show, okay, this is the sunset, this is the moon. You can do various things with that. Like, for example, this is again, a powerful shot. You need a powerful lens for this. I had a 500 mm lens. I had an extension tube, 1.4x extension tube. So effectively, 500 into 1.4 is 700 mm, that kind of a range I got. And you see the clarity of this moon here. So this is one kind of a moon shot that is different from the usual moon shots that one would take. Then this is the crescent moon, right? We have seen crescent moons, and many of people have taken it with mobile photographs, or a long shot. So I wanted to take a close-up shot of the crescent moon again, with the same kind of a lens combination that I had actually mentioned earlier. And this is how the crescent moon looks. And this shot, the white space that you see, is also a full moon. Now, what I had done is I had included the branch of a tree. You don't see the tree because it's dark which is there on the right hand side. But the branch of the tree is also curving along with the moon curves. So this is one way of showing the moon. And then this is another way. So what you see in the background is a full moon, and I asked my daughter to stand in front of on the terrace with the moon in the background. And what you see is are the details of the nose and the lips and the eyelids. You can also see some of the hair on top of the nose. So this is one way of showing the moon. I call it the phase of the moon. You call it PHASE or FACE. That's what I call. This is another, full moon shot that I shot on Buddha Purnima. So I had this Buddha's idol. I took it to the terrace. The background that you see, that the light is that of the full moon. The color is that day was also, slightly orangish. Also, in addition to that, these are also the camera settings that I had adjusted to bring in this kind of an effect. This is a small idol, but then, it looks like, something that is there somewhere in some part of the world. No, it's just my terrace that, this particular object was there.
So there are some feedbacks which the members have shared.
Yeah.
Siddiq has said awesome clicks, and then Venkatesh, super photography. Every picture is a masterpiece, and we have our President Sharath sharing it as superb. All the shots.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is our Kapaleshwar temple. If you see the top, if you go to Kapaleshwar temple, you can actually see these two mouse statues, and what you see there is the moon, in the background. So I wanted to show some relationship between the mouse and the moon. It looks like a crescent moon, and the crescent moon is again Shiva, and the mouse is Pillaya's or Ganesha's Vahan. So and it's as if they are in awe of the moon. They are, oh wow, what a moon, that kind of a thing. Now we saw the moon. Now let's see how different this can be. Now this is a sunset, a normal sunset, but then the clouds bring in some drama. But there's also one more element, which is the aeroplane that you see there. So that is one aspect of sun photography that I did initially. Then I slowly went to this thing where I showed the sun as a ball or a bulb, and this is a branch. There's actually no relationship between this branch and the sun, but bringing in this kind of a relationship is something that actually I like to be creative, and this is one aspect of creativity that I brought into it.
Can you explain the angle in which you took this shot? It is amazing. Like the sun is very small, and then it looks like a bulb. What was the angle you took, and how close were you to the branch? Or
no, so to the branch, I would say I was around 6 to 7 feet away.
Okay.
And the sun is, it's there in the sky. I mean, it's not that there's nothing that I did as far as making the sun small or making the branch big. The branch is just 6 to 7 feet away. The sun is in the sky, and I adjusted my position in a way as if the branch is holding the sun.
What is the teaching to us? What is the teaching to us? Like, how do we have to look at these kind of imagination? Do you have some inputs on that? Like how to get a shot like this? What was your thought process when you saw that?
No, so that's what I said. There's nothing big I did. The only thing that I did was I thought creatively. That's all, right? I thought creatively. I said, this is what I need to do. Now the angle is nothing. I am just standing in front of the branch 6 to 7 feet away, and the sun is there on the sky. I have a complete view. There's no other obstacles, and the composition is what is more important here.
Nice, thank you.
This is another aspect of a sunset. The metro works were actually going on, and I wanted to show the crane hooking the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another a different kind of. Also, if you see this kind of tree, it makes a diagonal composition. There's a diagonal element, that is brought into this composition, which I like. These diagonal elements. So I was in Sholinganallur, and I photographing the birds, when suddenly I saw that the sun was there, and I wanted to show how solar energy is actually can be shown as getting changed, or you can convert solar energy to electrical energy. So now the center of the sun is usually very bright when you take a photograph. So the wire actually looks as if, it is going into the sun from left-hand side and then coming out of the sun, from the right-hand side. It is not, there's no like, that's how the photograph is. Because as I said, the central part is actually washed out because of the brightness of the sun. So that was one of the, again, a different way of looking at the sun and, bringing in that electrical energy and solar energy concept.
Fantastic.
Yeah, this one, see, I had seen photographs of the sun, so big, and I wanted to see, how I can take this. This was shot in little run of Kutch. You need a big lens for this. I had a 500 mm lens, and just before the sun was setting, when the sun sets, it sets very fast. So just before the sun set, I shot this to show it like a huge ball. It looks very big in comparison to the other elements that you see in this, the tree and so I had always wondered, whether this kind of a thing is possible, or or people are just doing something in Photoshop. But yes, this is actually possible when you have those big lenses and you can take this kind of make this kind of a composition.
Fantastic.
So you usually see sun at the top and the rest of the beings at the bottom. So this, I thought, is just the opposite of it. The sun is down and the bird is at the top. This is a drongo. Also, the thorny bushes, bring in a different feeling. It's you have this kind of a prickly heat kind of a feeling that is actually given to this photograph. The flamingo here is owning the sunset. The lone flamingo. I was actually waiting for this. There are actually many other flamingos at this on this stretch. And I waited here for some time for the rest of the flamingos to move away from my composition, because I had already decided on the composition here. And fortunately for me, the sun was at the right place, and the flamingo had just come in the center of that my composition, just in the center of the sun, and that's when I clicked it.
Yeah, there's a message from Mr. Srinivasan. Nice perspective of shots. And Rotary Nandagopal, beautiful flamingo picture. I mean, it's really amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another one. This, you don't have to go to, all the exotic locations. This is taken from my house, the terrace of my house. The metro constructions were going on. And I thought, these guys were actually doing some work, and I wanted to bring in the sunset here. It's as if, they're doing some maintenance on the sun. So that was my, field. That was my way of thinking here. The reason I'm mentioning all these things is that, I actually want to tell people that, look, photographers or other serious photographers think a lot before clicking. It's not just clicking. They actually make a photograph, in the camera. The composition and everything actually is very important. And thinking creatively is also so important, when you go out in the field.
So nice of you. Yeah, beautiful shots.
Now this shot, if you see, it's as if the wires are holding the sun. Obviously, there's no relationship between the wire and the sun, but I was at the right position here in Sholinganallur, and I shot this as if they're balancing the sun. Okay, so fine. Let's look beyond. I thought a lot of nature photographs. So now I'll go a bit fast.
Yeah, because we want of time. So if we can.
Correct. That's why I want to go a bit fast here.
Yeah.
So these are some of the photographs which I said somebody was asking about monetization, right?
Yeah.
So I branched out into other aspects of photography, for this monetization. I don't want to call it monetization because that looks very serious. I'm not a very serious kind of a guy who goes after money kind of a thing. But similarly, this food photography, I almost covered, I think I covered around 92 restaurants here in Chennai doing food photography for them. And this was actually for a food aggregator, Uber Eats. And I covered all this, branched out into this aspect of photography too. The baby photography, yes, very difficult challenges. Babies don't cooperate, or because they are not supposed to cooperate. And you plan, but then everything is unplanned in the shoot. So this is one aspect that I had concentrated on. Product photography, more than 700 products which I actually worked on. Product photography is also very, very, very interesting. This is for an e-commerce client, and the lighting is so important because in an e-commerce website, you need to see all aspects of the product. So shadows sometimes are a distraction. So how much of light should be used, is something that a decision needs to be taken there. Dance, I said I did dance photography, and these are all still shots, in arangetrams as well as performances, professional performances. Very, very important in dance photography to see what kind of shot you want, whether you want a close-up, of the expressions of the dancer, or you want to take a long shot showing the actions, because that's also very important. Dance is not just about expressions. There's also the mudras and the way the feet is actually placed. So a quick decision needs to be taken, whether you really do want to do a close-up or a long shot. So this is another aspect of dance photography that I actually was doing. So how do we look at objects? So I'm in the last section now. So just to let you all know, how do we look at objects differently? Again, this is a glass of water, and you have the sunset behind it. So let's do things creatively. That's what I would like to, mention. So look at things creatively. Similarly, we do a lot of portrait shots. A lot of people, have mobiles now. Everyone is a photographer now with mobiles. But this is my family photograph here, and I decided that this has to be different. And this is a portrait shot, and you can very well see how my family cooperates with me as far as taking photographs is concerned. Another aspect, you really do not know whether the lady here is actually looking in front or she is looking to the left hand side. She's facing the left hand side, but the light has been placed in such a way that it looks, you can, if you keep staring at this particular image, you will see two aspects of or two ways that the lady is looking. One is she is facing the left hand side, or she is facing straight, but her eyeballs are moved to her right. So this is the magic of light, the way you place the light. Again, light, backlight, and you show the contours of the face, a different kind of a photography here. Now this is another macro shot here. What you see is a face in that water drop. This is a rose bud, and you see a face upside down in the water drop there. It is a face. The actual person is actually, the person is my son, who is placed immediately behind the bud. You can see his nose. This is his nose. These are his eyes. But the water drop acts like another lens, and it inverts the image, and you see his image here. So this is the beauty of macro photography. Cups, the tea cups, invert them, give them glasses, and you have two geeks, in a discussion. Again, a family portrait using matchsticks, father, mother, and child. This is Krishna, a little Krishna inside the water drop. There's a dropper here, and you can see the Krishna placed upside down behind, and so that I get a straight image inside the water drop here. And this is the last photograph that I have here. This is again immediately after rains. The bar had two water drops, and they looked like devil's eyes. The central back portion is nothing but a reflection of a tree in the background, and it made an interesting. It looked like devil's eyes, and that's what I immediately clicked. So finally, some tips. Let's start observing things. Let's we know we all are in the rat race, but then we need to stop and start observing. Try out new angles and make a conscious decision to be different. There's no point in doing the same thing like everyone is doing. Let's be different. Practice with everyday objects. If you are into photography, you should. I used to do that. When I was working for the HCL Technologies, after coming back at 7:30 or 8, I would sit at home and then practice with everyday objects at home. yes, a good quality camera is very important actually. And you can follow other photographers online too to get these ideas. A lot of my fellow photographers have been doing it. I've learned a lot from them, also from experts. And if you are really interested, I would suggest join a photography course. That is something that you can into. So that's it from my end. You have my contact details at the bottom in case you would like to get in touch with me or you have any doubts or you would like to further. You can also connect with me on Facebook and Insta. I have a website too, srikanthclicks.com. So that's it. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. That was an excellent creative presentation on photography. We are all amazed. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. Now I would invite our Rotarian Sriram H to propose the vote of thanks.
So, is there still any Q&A? Is there still any Q&A?
Is there any Q&A, members? Do you have any questions?
I think it was superb. And,
I think Raji Balachandar has a question, I think. Raji, madam, yes, please go ahead. Do you have a question? No. Okay. All right. Yeah, you can propose the vote of thanks, Rotarian Sriram.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, very much.
Yeah. So, Srikanth, a very riveting, jobbing presentation. Many stories behind every photo that you have shown. When you express those stories and then when we relate that story to that photo, I mean, it's so different and so creative. I mean, you started with that cubicle life analogy. It was, I was just thinking, yeah, you are very right. We are all, அதுவும் இப்போ இந்த கொரோனால வந்து ஒண்ணுமே ஜூம் கியூபிக்கல்குள்ள போயிட்டோம் நம்ம. So yeah, it's that from that perspective it was very refreshing to see those photographs. And I mean, a couple of photographs still I'm in my mind. The photograph of the peacock. It is as if a newly wed bride was sitting fully dressed up, colorful, with the entire hair plaited. Such a lovely photograph. And also the macro photography reminds me of that movie Bugs Life, where you showed that colored grasshopper. The kind of details that a grasshopper can have, knew that colors, frills that would be there in a grasshopper. And you also explained why it is a breathtaking photography. Photograph. So, very interesting. And the kind of the shot you in a still shot, people, though it's a still shot, people see emotion in that shot. They don't see it as a still shot. That's the kind of impact. Very interesting, actually. The sun bound by 3 wires. It was very absorbing, very interesting, and the kind of story you had to tell behind these, the way you looked at things, quite creative. And thank you so much for spending your time.
Thank you.
In showcasing these photographs. I'm sure many more, and for paucity of time. In fact, already we crossed around an hour now. So thank you so much for making this presentation. I thank all the dear friends of Rotary Club of Guindy to have taken part in this presentation. I'm sure each one of us have a takeaway from this presentation. There would be some images that would still linger in our mind, and we will have our own story to build around those photographs. I thank Balachandar for facilitating these kind of sessions. I thank Madan for taking this forward. I thank the President, Mr. Murthy, for presiding this over this one, and also Srikanth and others, other club chairs for presenting the way forward on the Rotary. So thank you so much. Overall, I think it was a session, and a special thanks to Srikanth for having shown a different perspective of the normal scenes that we see. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Fantastic, sir.
Madan sir, adding to Sriraman's point, I just want to thank Srikanth sir. It's a wonderful session. I don't know how you are. You are so creative. I don't know how you are placed between 0 and 1 for 21 years. Within the binary for so long for 21 years. And really each photo shares story. Really, thank you so much. My eyes do not take out from the presentation. I can't take it out from the presentation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic, President. That was so nice. And now I have the avenue informations here. The avenue information, birthday celebration. Chanakyan, Annette of Rotarian Kalaimamani and Anne Lakshmi is celebrating his birthday today. Viba, Annette of Rotarian Balachandar and Anne Raji is celebrating her birthday on 30th. And our Rotarian Radhakrish is celebrating her birthday on 31st July. Manju Somani, Anne of Sandeep Somani is celebrating her birthday on 31st. And Rajeshwari, Anne of Rotarian Arun Prasad is celebrating her birthday on 2nd August. With this, we will have the next speaker meeting on the 4th of August, which is a Wednesday. And I would now request the members to stand up for the national anthem. Is there anything else to add, President?
No, we can go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, now I would request every member to stand up for the national anthem. I'm sharing the screen.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind. Thank you. May I now request President Motish to adjourn the meeting and we can start the networking.
This Rotary Club of Guindy weekly speaker meeting adjourned now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, President. And now let us have the networking session. Can I request our President to switch off the recording? We can have the networking now. Yeah.
I think you was host, Madanji. I think you should stop it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll stop it. Yeah. Thank you.